I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo, no relation, and OceanCity.com. And a little startled to be here, and he started right on the nose, and it threw me off a little bit. So we got all sorts of fun stuff. Look, we're in the same place. This is going to happen with some regularity over the next couple of weeks. We're going to we're gonna do another kind of refinement, but this is one of them. We're hoping to be here at the Crowbar. So I guess we're live from the Crowbar. If you're listening now, and if you're listening later, trust me, we were live when we did it.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
All sorts of fun last week. We got in all sorts of trouble. All sorts of. I got to Western Maryland, which is always a pleasure.
Sure.
And I had a fantastic.
Well, you know, Western Maryland is my original beach. I was a mountain kid. When we would go up, my family had a cabin up in Western Maryland that we would go and visit, and that's where we went for family vacation, summertime, wintertime, all of that. And it's just kind of funny. I don't know, me being the black sheep of the family, ended up moving down to the beach.
Right.
Mostly probably because Natalie was a beach girl.
Mm.
But you know, that was I love it up there, and I mean, very familiar with the whole area.
Well, I'll tell you about that in a second. I also started my new job at OceanCity.com on Monday, and I'm having a blast. I was in Ocean City taking pictures yesterday, and it was weird. It's still an adjustment.
Right.
But you know, I think I came at the right time of year because I don't have to deal with the crowds immediately.
Right.
Just sporadic crowds.
You can ease into Ocean City.
Ease into Ocean City, and my new love for Ocean City. But before we get into all my stuff, and I got a ton of stuff, let's get into some of your stuff.
We got into a little bit of trouble, and not really. We went to the SoDel, the Southern Delaware Music, Wine, Beer, Spirit, Music.
Yeah, we
Fest.
talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so that was Paul Cullen's event that they had up there at Independence, the neighborhood Independence by Shell Brothers. You know, this ridiculous clubhouse, basically, that they have for the community. It's like a golf course clubhouse without the golf course. He had this idea of doing not your just typical beer event, which there are plenty of. We'll get to yours,
right?
But they're but more of a wine event. And I guess he had like 40 different wines. He had a bunch of different restaurants actually pairing things together. There was a really neat educational component where they were doing like the two things. They were doing presentations in front of everybody. You know, they had the singing chef from the a Food Network show, and then they had a couple local guys doing some things. Hari from Amuse, you know, he pulled out the liquid nitrogen, and that was, you know, fun and exciting.
I don't know who Hari is. I don't know what Amuse is.
It's a restaurant up in Rehoboth.
Oh, all right.
And he's one of these guys who does like a lot of the gastronomy type stuff. So, you know, a little bit more out there. The other part of the educational component is they had like sit down pairings and tastings and stuff like that, that were kind of like guided tours by wine experts. You know, like little classroom setting, and I thought it was pretty cool. It was a very Eagleton versus Pawnee sort of.
Yeah, we were. That's the other thing. We were. Oh, I'm so sorry, kids.
There you go.
So rude of me.
That's Eagleton calling.
Yeah, no, it's GoDaddy calling. They call me every 6 months to make sure I'm still having the internet. I don't know. But it was a great event. I thought it went off very well for the first event. You know, Paul and the organizers seemed very, very pleased. We got some great pictures. Got a video that's going to be coming out, just kind of, you know, showing the, you know, what it was like to be there. And yeah, we had a nice time. Unfortunately, though, we missed the Berlin Oktoberfest. Yes, which it seemed to be at. Burley had to go back for beer several times.
Yeah,
I heard. I wasn't here either. I was away, but apparently everybody had a good time was had by all.
I talked to a couple of the pourers from that day,
mm-hmm.
and one said that at one point there was a beer at the Main and Commerce and Pitt,
right,
and the line stretched all the way down to the tavern. So
wow,
you know, I think it sounds like it was a grand event. So.
Very cool. I want to adjust something. I'm not used to being in the same room with Todd, and I forget that you can see me when he's talking. So I'm like, I gotta scratch my nose, I gotta pick my ear, and then usually I can do that stuff. I can look away. He could tell you now, because sometimes I'll get up and walk away and do something while he's talking.
Right.
I mean, I can hear him. It's not like I'm ignoring him, but
right.
I got my nose is itchy, so there I'm scratching. I went to scratch my nose, and I'm like, oh wait, they can see me.
Yeah.
They're not exclusively.
Well, and it's also funny because I think when we're both looking this direction,
Right.
like I'm talking to you even though you're here.
Right.
It's that's almost better.
Well, it takes a little doing. Doug and I kind of have a thing now. I do the other podcast with Doug, the Bureau of Strangers podcast, and what we do is we set the camera up way over there, so it's up, so it looks like
you're looking past people.
Well, we're looking at the camera, because if you put it here, you know how you're looking down and you can see yourself. Yeah. So I put the camera up there and I turn the screen off.
So it's just going to the camera.
It's just so we're either talking to each other or talking to the camera, and we're never stealing glances down, unless I have to go like, oh, look at what I'm doing now.
Right.
But so anyway, I wanted to tell you about my weekend. I went to Deep Creek Lake.
Yes.
I had so much fun. We always have, so we got a little snow.
What? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. We're
awesome.
in Garrett County.
Yeah.
So we got a little snow. I think the takeaway from it was that I am so old and also easy to please. It's outrageous, because I went to we went to a place called Oakland, which is just outside of Deep Creek Lake, and because we're old and white, we went antiquing. So we went to all these antique shops and bought nothing. We just walked around, had a good time, and so we came back and it was snowing, and it had been snowing on. It's sleeting really.
Right.
I'm gonna call it snow because it's better.
A little freezy stuff. Gunshots. So it had been sleeting on and off for most of the day, and we got back to the hotel and it was sleeting, and we had a little balcony. We had a shared balcony. We were at a shed, and we were going to have lunch out there, as has kind of become our custom. So, but it was really too cold to stay outside and have lunch. So we decided we'll just have like Kelly wanted to have a smoke, I want to have a pipe. So have a little bit of bourbon, and she had a little glass of wine, and we'll just take some cheese out, and we'll have some cheese. And instead, we finished a bottle of bourbon, ate all the food, and passed out. Nice.
And that was how we spent our anniversary Saturday afternoon. Literally drank a bottle of bourbon, fell asleep, slept for 4 hours.
That's great.
It was so wonderful. And so we stayed near enough to the restaurant that we were going to walk to the restaurant, and we did. And we got loaded again at the restaurant because we were really irresponsible when there are no kids to help.
Yeah.
Right. And it was pitch dark. It's very dark up there. They don't have street lights and things like that. So I brought a white umbrella, and I was telling Kelly how I could also fend off bears. I could get cars' attention and fend off bears because if it's black, fight back is the bear thing. Brown laid down. I don't know if that's true. She told me that. She reads the internet, so
it's got to be true.
It feels true. It feels right. But I was incredibly, though accidentally, rude to a waitress, and it gave me the opportunity to have like a moment with her. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Accidentally rude?
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you the story.
You were Tony being Tony.
No, I was Tony being douchebag, but I didn't realize it. I accidentally douchey because, all right, my favorite drink is a Manhattan. My wife always tells me, don't order Manhattans in restaurants. You're always disappointed. And I'm like, and so I said, yes, you are correct. And so I said to myself, if I get there and a Manhattan is on their specialty drink menu, then I'll order it. Otherwise, I won't.
Yep.
It's on the menu. And
what is a Manhattan?
Oh, a Manhattan is bourbon and sweet vermouth and a cherry.
Seems pretty easy.
Yes. The balance is the thing, right? And I said not too sweet. That's the other thing. I like it not too sweet. And so I said, can I get a Manhattan? Neat, not too sweet. And she says, of course. And she brings it back, and it's on the rocks. And I said
a big one.
I said out of my mouth, I'm embarrassed to repeat it now. I said, neat means no ice. And I just felt like a dick, you know? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm like, no problem. I'm going to enjoy the drink. And I did enjoy the drink, and the drink was wonderful.
Right.
And it kept me from getting completely loaded because we also drank a bottle of wine at dinner.
Right.
But the waitress leaves, and she comes back. And when she came back, I said, I didn't mean to say that out loud. I thought it to myself, and I know what a dick I sounded like. And I'm not a dick, I swear. And she's like, no, it's okay. I was like, no, it's totally not ever okay to say that to someone. Even if you're thinking it, you should never say that to anybody out loud. So it cost me $10 extra in the tip.
Sure.
I remember that's 10 bag tax, I think.
I think you can still say something like that, and as long as you are sort of self-deprecating about it, admitting that you're being douchey.
What I should have said was, "Oh, I'm sorry, I asked for it without ice."
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said meat means no.
No.
God, I'm still look. I'm turning red.
Did you go? Yeah, babe.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I got a little story for you.
Lean in.
Oh, jeez. So anyway,
I don't think that's that terrible.
I
think you've done worse.
Well, we were sitting next to a patrician couple. They were very, very white, very, very waspy, and very, very wealthy, and we hated them immediately. And so we were able to text back and forth. And the first thing my wife texted to me was, how often do you think these guys have cheated on their wives this year? Or something like that. It was just, you could smell it on them. So
it was a group of guys, or
no? It was two couples. A guy, and they were in their 60s, late 50s, early 60s, and they were just not my people. But down next to us, there was a kid who had the most wonderful hair that I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
My wife said it wasn't wonderful hair, but it was 80s. It was 80s short, bushy, fabulous hair.
Yeah.
So I declared him fabulous.
Well, so that's interesting because one, that there were bourgeois people there, because my experience and spending a lot of time up there is they're sort of behind the times. And I would guess that the kid with fabulous hair was not doing it ironically or current styling. It was because he was still. I think he was still trapped in the 80s.
Well, it was. I believe it was prom night. There were lots of people. Well, it couldn't have been prom night. I guess homecoming someplace. There were a couple girls in spangly, and a couple guys in uncomfortable.
Yes.
So.
With I'm sure camouflage cummerbunds and.
I only saw two guys, and they were just black jeans.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And Reeboks or whatever they were. Like, I'm a waiter, except I'm going to a dance.
Yeah.
This is what a waiter would look like if he were going to a dance. So that was my weekend, and it was a blast. But my weekend had to end, and then I came back to work at OceanCity.com. Just real quick, I wanna bump the Shore Craft Beer Festival is it's in Sunset Park.
Yeah.
I have no idea where that is.
Really?
I don't even have a guess.
It's a cool place. It's a really cool place.
I saw pictures. It looks nice.
So when you go into Ocean City. I know you haven't been there.
I was just in Ocean City yesterday. So I'm going back when we're done here.
So you go into Ocean City, and the flow of traffic sends you north for the most part. And you go south or right to go to the inlet.
Right.
So as you're making your way to the inlet, if you go all the way down to where the actual physical water is, you would carry on to the inlet on your left. On your right is Sunset Park.
Oh, so you park in the inlet and walk?
So you park in the municipal lot. You walk over there. It's like nice boardwalk. They have like kind of a little stage. I think and then it's kind of like looking out over the point of not the ocean in the inlet, but the inlet in the bay, like Stinky Beach and that sort of thing.
Well, I'm looking forward to going. I'm giving 2 talks, so they rented me out to NPR for. The NPR bought a specialty package, and that's I was surprised, very surprised at how there are people coming from all over for this.
Right.
This isn't a bunch of local people. There are a lot of Western Maryland, not Western Maryland, Baltimore, Havre de Grace, places like that. Havre de Grace, right? You say Havre, but you say de Grace, right?
Right.
Yeah, I knew that.
It's like Horst Dwarves.
And so lots of people coming from lots of places, so we're really looking forward to it. There aren't many tickets left, and if you don't buy a ticket, show up early because we really think we're going to run out of
And what's the time?
Glasses. It is noon, 12:30. We can start. I think 12:30 to 1:30 is the VIP.
Okay.
And then 1:30 to 6, 1:30 to 4. It's not long,
right?
But there's not a lot of beer. There's 11 breweries. Each has 2 or 3 beers, and beers for tasting, and also beers for sale, which is, I think, one of the coolest things. Like, you can buy a growler there. which is novel. I mean, they made a new law for it and everything.
So if everybody's coming from a faraway place, they can try everything, take home something they like,
absolutely,
without having to travel all over the.
And also, all of the breweries who sell cans and bottles are invited to bring, and they will. You know, they'll bring their cans and bottles for sale. Burley Oak is serving the 2 in the can anyway. The Sorry Chicky and double IPA secret sauce. Right.
Now that's funny that you said you were rented to NPR.
Yeah.
Is that going to cause any confusion? Are people going to come up to you and say, "I listen to Coastal Connection. I never imagined that you look like this"?
I can't tell you how often it already happens. So it must be. I mean, and I think they're going to be very disappointed when Brian Russo isn't there. If they bought the ticket to have a tough beer talk with Brian Russo, they're going to be disappointed. Fortunately, I mean, I can talk beer better than, I mean, I know more about beer history than Brian Russo does, so that's fair.
Right.
So I'll give them the information. But yeah, if they were hoping to meet the award-winning radio journalist Brian Russo, who is also back in Ocean City, they're mistaken.
Yeah, we should set up a series, Russo versus Russo, music and beer, where you have to talk about music and Brian has to talk about beer.
We probably both can do that.
You're both professionals.
And I'm also not an unaccomplished musician. I just haven't been in a band since, the 1980s. So, if you want to talk hair metal.
Yeah.
If you want to talk power chords behind hair metal, I'm your guy.
I think that would be fantastic.
I don't know. I know it's how it started, but it looks like it's already running up toward closing time here. I'm not in any particular rush, but I want to make sure we hit the news. And the one news that was a surprise to me, I just discovered, also a surprise to Todd, is that when you're done at the beer festival this weekend, do what I'm going to do and go to the Elvis Festival, because how did we have an Elvis Festival in Ocean City and not know it? I don't know.
Is it just Boardwalk Elvis that we're festivalizing?
It's people are coming in to the Elvis tribute in Memphis. We have added David to our Friday night. There's an Elvis Festival. It's at a hotel. I'm clicking on it now. This has been a very busy week. The Ocean City Elvis Festival is October 23rd through the 25th, 2015. So maybe I will go. I'm busy on the Friday. And there's a calendar of events. There's a spectacular Halloween Christmas party. It is at the Clarion.
Very good.
So if you're an Elvis impersonator, you definitely want to swing by the Clarion and
or an Elvis fan.
Or an Elvis impersonator.
Have you been to Graceland?
No, I've not.
Yeah, we took a road trip to Graceland, and oddly enough, Natalie took a road trip to Graceland, but separate from the one that I took. So I think maybe we have to go back together.
After you were married?
No, this is but we were both in college. We took them a year apart as spring break trips.
Oh, yeah. No, my brother's been. I've not. It would be tough. I don't know. Everybody seems to love Memphis, so
it's a great place, and it's probably worth mentioning. In related, Shell Brothers Beer Pong Festival is coming up at the Starbird this weekend. We'll be up there for that. And Starbird, very well known for Frank Rains, one of the best Elvis impersonators in the area every Sunday during the summer, kicking Suicide Sunday off.
Well, maybe I trying to see if that's his name on here. No, David Lee.
Lee
is the big draw here for the Elvis Festival in Ocean City. Little baseball news: the Mets are in the playoffs. It's very exciting for me. One of the things is, if you'd like to, you can follow me for now on Storify. I'm trying to get it on oceancity.com, so I don't have to do 6 different blogs. And plus, that way I get credit, and it's like work. It's like I'm getting paid for work. And I'm sorry. Let's have this conversation instead. Yesterday, I was walking on the boardwalk, and I was going to the Ocean City Life Saving Museum, where I took some great pictures, met some great people. Did a couple stories that you'll see in print soon or on the internet soon. And I had this moment where I'm like, I had this sickness in my stomach where I better get this done quick so I can get back to my real job. Because usually when I'm out doing a fun bloggy kind of thing, it's on the sly when I'm supposed to be working.
Right.
And then I had this moment. I'm like, no, this is your job. You are at work right now. And that was very pleasurable. I haven't felt like that actually since I was down here last time at the Bayside Gazette.
Yeah.
That I was working by accident.
That's
and you said that you've been doing this 3 years now?
We've been doing this full time for the past 2 years, 3 years in the spring, two and change. And I think that I still have that sensation.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not a bad way to be. In fact, it's funny, it's hard for me to complain to anybody about my workload ever.
Right.
Because most of the time I'm having drinks at noon.
Yeah.
And the reason is, we'll go to clients or prospective clients. We do a lot of work with bars and restaurants, and having a drink at noon is just kind of like the thing. But long ago, I used to say that my definition of vacation is when you can have a beer with lunch. Yeah. So now I feel like I'm on a permanent vacation.
Absolutely.
I remind myself that I'm living the life of a retired person.
Speaking of where we talked about getting out together more. I don't know if you're available to do this, and I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'm going to start it next week. I'm going to start making calls for happy hour. Now, I won't be drinking probably at the happy hour because I don't have that kind of money to go drink every week. I drink at home a lot. Let's be honest. The thing is, I gotta be honest. I don't have a problem drinking or not drinking, but I do have a problem saying that, like, not having another drink because it's irresponsible. Most, or in Berlin where there's backwards. Yeah. But one of the things that we're going to start doing is these people drinking and having fun times at bars. As you see in the newspapers, the out and about. When I was at the Bayside Gazette, I would go to different places and find different people. But what I'm going to do instead is have a where should I go for happy hour? What I've discovered is that a lot of people who follow oceancity.com don't live here, right? And they want to kind of know what's going on. So I'll be like, all right, what's your favorite bar? I'm going there for happy hour to take pictures next Wednesday night or whatever, and they'll be able to call it, and then I'll go and I'll take pictures. And if you want to be there to get in pictures, then do that. And if not, then you can look at them. The other thing, I'm inviting you, but you don't have to come. Okay, that sounds like something I would enjoy. This is an open call for anyone who's interested in being photographed for the Beer in Delaware book forthcoming. We're not having anything. I'm taking pictures at Dogfish Head on Friday night and probably at Third Wave tomorrow night, Thursday night. If you want to be in the book, if you go to the Dogfish Head, you have to sign a release. It's their rules, not mine. But if you go to Third Wave, you don't. But if you want to come, we need crowd pictures for the book because we didn't get any crowd pictures. Got plenty of brewing pictures. So going to Dogfish Head on Friday night, 5:30ish. Same time, same station, Thursday night at Third Wave, and starting on Thursday night next week is probably when I'll do the happy hour thing, and maybe I'll combine it with the short craft beer and do a. Yeah, no, I like the happy hour idea. Yeah, that's lots of fun, and that's pretty much all I have for this week. How about you? You got still stuff written down? Yeah, no, I'm good. I hit on the points, and we got next week we'll talk about Halloween, and we got some good stuff lined up for Halloween. I speaking of the other amateur hour, my publisher just bumped up my book release. They want to have it out for St. Patrick's Day, and it's just so tacky. It's so tacky. And I'm like, I hope you don't expect me to do anything on St. Patrick's Day. Just like a leprechaun. Yeah, no. I'm like, talking about craft beer is about not St. Patrick's. Right. It's Coors does very well with their green beer on St. Patrick's Day. I mean, you're welcome to get yourself a nice Irish stout. But it's not my bag. Anyway, so talk about Halloween. Halloween is huge here. People take Halloween very seriously. Berlin, yes. Berlin does very well. They draw people from all over the region because they have sidewalks and people who give out candy and lights. Which are rare in the country, and we do the same thing in Delmarva. Our street has lights. We get trick-or-treaters, and it's like the place to be. The place to be if you can't get to Berlin. People come from miles around. But so until we talk again, so that's it for this week. May Todd give you the sense to live in a small town. We'll see you next week at Coffee Hour. Cheers.